Hi everybody. So today I want to talk about something I guess is a little more serious, but most recently I got food poisoning on Monday, and it was by far the worst experience I've ever had. For those of you who've had food poisoning, you understand what I'm talking about. I got it on Monday morning, and I was at work and I started feeling really sick. I went to the nurse. So I went and I laid down on one of the nurse's beds. And I felt okay. Well, that's a complete lie. I felt horrible. But I didn't think I needed to go to the doctor. I'm a very, I guess, old-fashioned kind of girl. I don't really like doctors that much. I don't really like hospitals that much. If I can get better on my own, I would much rather do that than take any kind of pill or something. So I was like, no, I'm just gonna go home. So I barely made it home and crawled into bed. And by this point, my stomach hurts really, really bad. And I started to get kind of scared because it was extremely painful. And so eventually I texted my co-teacher back at school and I was like, hey, can you tell me how to get to the hospital because I think I need to go. And she was like, oh, well, can you get there by yourself? And I was like, I really don't know by this point. And she's like, okay, don't worry about it. I'm just going to call an ambulance. So they called an ambulance for me, and they came very, very quickly. I was a little worried because, you know, in the States, ambulances are really expensive. But my co-teacher assured me that ambulances are free. So the ambulance comes, they put me in this little chair, get me downstairs into the ambulance, taking my temperature, my vitals, all that stuff. They get me to the hospital, and I try to explain that I ate something. Long story short, I think what it was I had some grapes. I bought some grapes from a street vendor. And side note, be careful with street vendors. I'm not the first person that I know now who has gotten food poisoning from a street vendor. I know that there are a lot of street vendors who serve the absolute best food. For example, when I go out partying in Hongdae, I have to have a kebab thing from these two street vendors. They battle it out on who has the best kebab, and it's the best. They're just so good. I always have to have them when I go partying in Hongdae. But just be really, really careful and look really, really carefully when you buy street food because there's really no regulation on it. And I guess I wasn't paying attention. I bought some grapes from a street vendor that's kind of like a street market, open air fruit market that's right next to my office tower. And I ate the grapes as part of my dinner, and then I ate them again that morning. And the doctor basically said, there's nothing we can do for you other than give you an IV for the nausea and exhaustion and just sleep it off. So for the next 3 days, I couldn't eat anything, basically. And the third day, the doctor had said, if you still can't eat anything by the third day, please come back and we'll reevaluate because we want to make sure you're okay. So I came back to the doctor on Wednesday, and they gave me more medication. And by this point, I hadn't eaten for 3 days, so I was exhausted. And they gave me a nutrition IV. So by this point, I've had 2 IVs, one on Monday and one on Wednesday. But every time I went to the doctor's office, they were very, very quick. I will say one thing. Everybody I talk to always says, oh, don't worry about going to the doctor. Doctors speak English. That's horse hockey. They do speak some English in the way that my students speak some English, but they're by no means fluent. I strongly suggest bringing a Korean speaker with you if you can go to the doctor. The first time I went, I had no choice in the matter. I had to go to the doctor immediately because I was in an excruciating amount of pain. And because I went to the emergency room, that cost me about 65,000 won. Which, I mean, if you look at that relative to the States, that's nothing, and really, really cheap. And I commend Korea's healthcare for that, because my insurance as a teacher, I pay half of my insurance every month, and my school pays the other half. And so I'm insured, and so that helped a lot with the emergency care that I got on Monday. But since I went the normal route on Wednesday, I went to go see a specialist for like stomachs and food poisoning, and I brought one of my Korean co-teachers with me. She was kind enough to take off of work and come with me. It was very sweet of her to translate. And since I went the correct route, like the normal route, which was still extremely fast. Like I walked in the door with my co-teacher, and by the time, I don't know, we filled out a couple forms, maybe 10 minutes later, I was already talking to a doctor, which is insane. Like in the States, it would take you, even in the ER, it would take you maybe even hours to get to see an actual doctor. And both times I went to the hospital, I was seeing a doctor immediately, almost, like literally within 10 minutes, which is, I mean, just amazing. But the second trip, they gave me more medicine, another IV, and that cost me a astounding 7,000 won, which is, I mean, it still blows my mind. And I'm so glad I went back that second day, because that IV was like my lifesaver. Like once I got the IV, it was like a nutrition IV to give my body the nutrition that it needed to actually fight the rest of the food poisoning. And by Thursday, I was actually able to go back to work. I wasn't 100%, and I wouldn't say I was 100% yesterday either. Today's Saturday. I would definitely say that I'm back to my happy, normal self today, which is amazing, and I'm so happy to say that, believe me. When I finally realized that I think actually about Thursday, I woke up and I didn't feel like death, basically. I felt like a newborn colt. Like I was running around, which is really, really bad because my stomach was still not fully there. But I was like running around like, look at the sky, look at the air, it's all so beautiful, oh my god, the world actually exists again. It was wonderful, because when you've been bedridden for 3 days, it's miserable. I mean, just miserable, especially for somebody like me. I'm an extremely active person. But back to healthcare. If there's one thing I want to say about Korean healthcare system, it's one, they were super fast. Which was awesome and such a relief, especially the first time I went in, because I was so scared. I was completely by myself, and they did a pretty good job of at least trying to listen to my problems and what was going on, and at least solving it temporarily, which was all I really cared about at that point. I just wanted the pain to stop, and so they gave me an IV, and that worked. So that was great. Like, they're very, very quick. The second thing I would say is it's ridiculously cheap compared to the States. Like they handled the money thing very, very well. After 2 trips to the doctor, 2 IVs, medication as well on top of that, all of that only cost me in total about 72,000 won, something like that, which, I mean, a normal doctor's visit back home for me would be like $100, like just for a checkup. So I'm still astounded by that, and I think it's wonderful. And I know my health insurance paid for half of that as well. So I just had to meet what my health insurance didn't cover. And then the last thing I would say is, yes, the doctors do speak some English, but if I had to give you a suggestion, if you are really sick, try to go with a Korean speaker as a translator, because especially when you're sick, you want to make sure that you give them all of your symptoms, so that they can properly diagnose you. And some gesturing does work for the most part, but there's nothing quite like being able to say exactly what you want. So if you can't, or exactly what you're feeling. So if you can't exactly bring somebody with you, at least try and Google Translate it or something and write down your symptoms and then write the Korean next to it, so that you can just show it to your doctor so that he knows exactly what's going on with your body and how to help you out. But yeah, overall, I would say my experience with the Korean healthcare system was amazing. I really, really honestly wish the States was more like it, and I would definitely use it again. That's a terrible thing to say, and I hope I never, ever, ever have to say that ever again. But yeah, dang Korea, like, America, take notes. But yeah, I'm happy to say that I'm totally back to normal again, completely healthy again, and back to hopefully making more videos. And I guess I will see you guys later. I want to also get back to, I know I haven't said this in a while, but if you guys have any questions do feel free to put them in the comments below, or you can post them on my Tumblr if you want to ask anonymously, or even send me a private email on YouTube. I'm perfectly okay with that. I have no problem giving personal advice to you guys if you really need it, but I'd prefer to answer in a video format for everybody. So if you have a question, and I get enough of the question, I'll usually put them together in a video for you guys. And I really, really want to know what you want to know so that I can make sure I get all those questions out of the way. So, yeah, that's it. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Like and subscribe if you like it, and don't if you don't. And I will see you guys later. Bye.